practice that you have of outsourcing labor like custodians and loaners to outside companies. It's really an unfair practice, and my question to you is, do you consider outsourcing the racist anti-worker labor practice?
No. What I can say about that is a couple things. The first is that we have a few contracts on the edges, but the overwhelming majority of our workers, people working on campus, work for us. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that there is a very active process of negotiation that goes on in collective bargaining and other areas. I can't actually address those things in a forum that is not a collective bargaining forum. So those questions are, we're happy to have those questions answered. That's not the kind of thing that we can answer here tonight. I will say, though, that we have no, when we provide services, the reason we provide services is to create educational value for you. What we care about is providing quality services so you can have a quality education. And that's all we actually think about. I mean, that's actually all we think about.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, question for Chancellor Burke. Okay, so despite the fact that the students and workers of the university have played absolutely no role in the appointment of the majority of the UC regents, why are they forced to suffer from the decisions made by this clearly undemocratic and unaccountable governing body?
The regents are appointed, the regentful appointment process is one that's done with the nomination through the governor and approval by the Senate and the Senate. Okay, so they're approved by the people, the decision makers in Sacramento that we've been talking about tonight. So there's a way to impact that process throughout by working with the legislature according to the Constitution of the state. And the regents' meetings are public, and all the regents' deliberations are public. And let me say that people are invited.
Oh, can I make a point?
Sure.
The UC Regent meeting at UCLA was not public. In fact, the police were brutalizing students.
Let me say that I go to the regents' meetings. I go to all the regents' meetings, and they are by law public. And here's how that happens. There's room inside. The room is only a certain time, but there's room inside where people come to the meetings. And let me say the public attend every meeting. And also the meetings are broadcast. So all of that information is public by law. It's controlled by the law and by the Constitution. The people who determine this are those who govern the state. And all I can say to citizens who feel discontent with the way the government works, the way that you do that is by involving yourself with the governing process and working to change it. And that's what I suggest. I mean, that's the regents of the university are the body that has been constituted to direct this university since its origin. It has risen to be the highest ranking and most celebrated public university in the world. That's great. If there are ways that they ought to do things different, you contact the regents directly and you work with the state government leaders on that. That's the public process that's set up to do this.
Thank you, Chancellor Drake. We appreciate the opportunity, this rare opportunity to voice our concerns and our questions to you. So I was at the UCLA protest, and this was kind of touched on this earlier, but I saw many students being tased and beaten, even though we didn't have any kinds of weapons. And so I don't know if this is true, so please correct me, but I heard that when police officers are using excessive force, other police officers kind of like pull them back, and there are clips of other officers pulling other officers back. So I'm just wondering, even though you didn't make the decisions to, this was at UCLA, so you didn't necessarily make these decisions of the police, but did you feel that that the reaction from the UCPD was truly necessary?
You're asking me to comment on events that I was not present at, and I mean, Ryan, I wanted to say.
Yeah, we just want to know if you felt that the reaction of UCPD to students that go to UCI, that go to other campuses, if that action was warranted. And you are the chancellor, so we just want to know how Admin feels, how our administration feels about what kind of happened.
So let me make sure I answer the question appropriately. I mean, it's a complicated question. So, well, let me say there are two pieces here. So one is about what do we feel about, let me say something about campus police. And I work closely with the police chief and with campus police on a routine basis. We have things that come up on a routine basis that have to do with protecting you and the rest of the people on the campus. And I will say that we have an outstanding force of people who do everything they can to protect all of us here on the campus. You know, we've talked about this, that we've had violence on the campus that was quite severe. And these people put themselves at risk to protect us, and we appreciate that. In the circumstance at UCLA where I wasn't, or other places that I've not been, I think there are very difficult decisions that are made, and what happens after those decisions is that people review the circumstances to determine if they were appropriate, and I believe that that's underway now. And so what you're asking me is I don't have any specific knowledge of what happened, and I think that a review is taking place now to make sure things are okay. I will say this, I went to school in the 60s, as did some of the other old schools here with me. And we were witnessed directly, and I was tear gassed and everything else like most of the people in my college were at the time, and we saw police brutality. We saw people being out of whack and out of range, and it was terrible and inappropriate. And I'll say there have been dramatic improvements since then. I don't know that we're all the way near where we need to be, but I know that we're very, very cognizant of making sure that the police that are here to protect all of us do their very best to protect us, and that we assist them in doing a good job of that. Let me have the chief say a word too.
I would appreciate a comment.
Yeah, just the chief say a word.
You have 1 minute.
Good. Let me say this, there was a lot of emotions that were present at UCLA. Anytime that you have an event where you have that potential for damage, injury, that there are responsibilities for officers on the scene to try to protect that. I will say that not every decision is going to be made with 100% perfect accuracy. Everybody in this room is human, every police officer is human. I cannot specifically address what you're saying because I did not witness those events. Now, in terms of, I've heard lots of stories about tasering and beatings. However, having heard from officers on the scene, it certainly wasn't to that degree or that extent.
With all due respect, I can show you images of that and clips.
Simply put, we're not going to resolve this question tonight. There's none of us that can answer your question. We can't address the fact whether things were done correctly or incorrectly. I do know that there's a review going on, just like there's a review that's going on up in Berkeley and Davis. And that's the best that I can address in terms of answering your question.
Thank you. So we only have a few minutes left, so go ahead.
Chancellor Drake, I don't think this is working, but I'll just ask you. We've had a lot of, I've heard a lot of like double talk, and so I'm just going to ask you a question, man to man, about your philosophy. What is the difference between a private and a public university, and do you feel that the actions to raise fees 32% is an action that privatizes the University of California, or makes it public and accessible to every student who's sitting in here tonight?
So I just as you know, I've been at this university, as I mentioned, I've been here for 38 years. And this is the most difficult time that we've faced. And I will say that through those 38 years, I'm proud of the work that I and my colleagues have done to keep this university affordable and to make it accessible to people, particularly those who haven't had access to high-quality education in the past. I've had a career of doing that. In fact, I would stand with anyone who hasn't done that. It's what I do. And so I think that raising fees is an awful solution to a problem. It's a horrible solution. The best fees, I loved it up through the early 90s when the fees were nearly nothing. And then the great mantra was best quality education, best opportunity, best quality healthcare services, best thought and innovation, and wide open to the people of California. I thought that was the smartest thing this state ever did. When the fees started going up, I said this is bad policy, it's bad for us. What we want to do is create as much access as possible for the young minds of California to come and be educated. So my idea of the best fees would be no fees. I think that the lower fees can be the better. And anything we can do to create access, I think, is better. So that's my philosophy. I've actually fought for that, and I'm proud and pleased with the things we've been able to achieve. I think just to make sure you have...